Welcome back everyone. We're going to take a look at the last theory from Vwo1 called powers. And that's quite an important one as well, because we're now going to take a look at what happens when my powers have a negative base. Als ik een negatief grondtal heb. Het getalletje op de grond kun je zeggen. What changes in that case? Or what doesn't change? Well, first of all, one very major thing that's still true with squares. We learned this notation with squares, and it's also true for higher powers. Remember the difference between those two notations. If you have -3 to the fourth inside of brackets, that means I'm going to do -3 times -3 times -3 times -3. You have 4 negative factors, so the end result is going to be positive again. So that's going to give me 81. So here, if you have it without brackets, that means that minus is just here in front. And what you're actually doing is doing 3 to the 4th power. And the first one just has a negative sign in front of them. So you get -3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Gives me -81. Hey, that's the difference again, right? So pay attention when you have notations like this. If your negative sign is inside of your brackets, you have to include it in your multiplication, you could say, like this, when you're going to calculate or evaluate the power. If it's just like this and your minus is in front, you could say just leave it there. And then you get just 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Sometimes that gives you a different result, 16 and -16. Sometimes it doesn't matter actually, because right here the -2 is inside of the brackets to the power of 3, so that gives me -2 times -2 times -2. That's -8. Here I just include that minus sign one time and do 2 times 2 times 2. Hey, but that's also -8. The book doesn't really explain when this happens and when this happens. It all has to do with what kind of number is in your base. If your base is, I don't mean the base, I mean what kind of number is your exponent. If your exponent is an even number, so for example 2, 4, 6, 8, here it's 4 for example, then you see it changes the outcome. If I have an odd number in my exponents, so here 3, but also here 5, that doesn't change my outcome. -243, -243, -8, -8. So you don't have to remember that, but sometimes it can help you out. Okay, let's practice. So the first two are exactly what we practiced in this theory, -2 to the power of 6 and -2 to the 6th. So this one is going to be -2 times -2 times -2. That 6 times is going to give me 64, right? So you don't have to write this down. You can write it down if you want to. You don't have to. Here, this will give me almost the same results, just with a minus in front, right? See the difference between those two. Here my minus is included in every factor. Here it's only happening one time. -1 to the 5th power. What would happen here? Try to figure this one out. -1 to the 5th, with the -1 being inside of brackets. The answer here is going to be -1. It doesn't change, right? Because you do -1 times -1 times -1. If you're going to count the minus signs, there are 5 of them. So my final answer is going to be negative. Yeah, and 1 times 1, that's still 1. So that's a bit of a trick question. This one. First calculate the powers. You have -2 to the 4th. That minus is not inside of my brackets. And I have -1 to the 4th, but the -1 being inside of brackets. This will give me -16 -3 times 1. You may calculate or evaluate both powers in one go. You don't have to use an extra intermediate step for that. However, you first are going to do the powers, right? Then, so I really kind of spoiled it here. Then you first multiply here, and then you subtract to find the final answer. Remember, minus 16 minus 3 is minus 19. So, know the difference. That's really the core part of this theory, between the minus being inside of my brackets and it not being inside of brackets. Practice this enough, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Good luck!